You've been doing everything you can to try and save your relationship, and it's still not working. You're trying to lead. You're trying to hold your masculine frame. You're trying to create emotional safety, show up differently, and she's not having any of it. And now you're at a loss because you don't understand why nothing you're doing is actually working. And here's the frustrating part. A lot of the advice that you're following isn't wrong. It's the same advice regurgitated over and over again, just in a different way. So you're hearing it and you're applying it and it's not working, and you just don't understand why. Well, the reason is because a lot of the advice is actually surface level. It doesn't address the root cause of why the relationship is actually having issues to begin with. Instead, we label everything. We say, she's an avoidant. She's anxious. There's past trauma that she hasn't dealt with. Those are really just labels. They're descriptions of behavior, not explanations of why it's happening. Because when you strip all of those labels down, it's all stemming from the exact same place. Someone is not being loved the way they naturally need to feel it, or the way someone's showing love is not actually being received. Avoidant attachment style, anxious attachment style, dismissive attachment style, all those are just emotional experiences that doesn't feel good to the nervous system. So instead of fixing that, we instead focus on the behavior and we try to manage the behavior. We say, create emotional safety. Be an emotional leader. Hold your masculine frame. And while those things do matter, they don't address the root cause of the problem. They're just managing the symptoms. So the only way to save your relationship is to get to the root cause of the problem. And the root cause of the problem is that somebody's not actually feeling emotionally fulfilled in a way that has them showing up in a happy manner and has them wanting to stay in the relationship. So think about it like this. Why does someone become an avoidant? Why does someone show signs of anxious attachment style? Why is someone being a dismissive avoidant? All of those are just protection mechanisms. So go one level deeper. Why do they feel the need to protect themselves? Why are they going into self-preservation mode? Because something inside the relationship doesn't feel fulfilling. Something feels like it's missing. And what hurts someone the most? Feeling unloved, feeling emotionally drained, emotionally unfulfilled. So you're being told to lead more, to show up stronger, to create safety, but she's still pulling away. Because what you're doing, even if it's good, isn't addressing what she actually needs. So she can see that you're trying and she can appreciate your effort, but it's not actually changing how she's experiencing you in the relationship. And this is the missing piece that nearly ended my own relationship. Because what most people don't realize is we don't all show love in the same way, and we don't automatically always show love to our partner in the way they need to actually feel it. And that's how you end up with an emotional disconnect. And that's why it can feel like you're putting in so much more effort and it's just not going anywhere. And that disconnect is what's creating those patterns of unhealthy behaviors and loops that you find yourself in. The getting upset at each other and the constantly arguing and going back and forth or maybe shutting down. And why the emotional distance keeps growing. It's those behaviors and that emotional disconnect that breaks down relationships. So that's the real issue, not all of these labels and not the actual behaviors. Back in 1992, Gary Chapman introduced the idea, the concept really, of love languages. Time, words of affirmation, gifts, touch, and acts of service. And while that concept is powerful, it's incomplete. Because it only focuses on how you receive love, not how any of us naturally express it. So someone might say, my love language is touch, but that just means that's how they feel loved. It doesn't talk about how they show love. Now, let's say you're also a person who receives love through touch. I call it affectionate contact, and we'll get into that later. But let's say you're also a person who receives love that way. and your partner receives love that way, but for some reason you're still over here not feeling that they're lovey-dovey with you enough, that they're not constantly all over you or giving you that affectionate contact that you're seeking. You might not know why, because in your head, well, our love language is the same, but it's because it's incomplete. It's missing the fact that there's a strong possibility that both the ways that you show love is actually different than how you receive it. And so this is where relationships break down, because what one person does naturally to show love might not be what's automatically naturally resonating with their partner. It's not matching what their partner needs. And that's what I call a love communication mismatch. And that mismatch is the root cause of why all these relationships are breaking down and why when you try harder, it's not resonating with the other person. It's also why people avoid and get dismissive and become anxious, because somewhere along the lines, what they're needing is not actually being fulfilled emotionally. And many times, that person doesn't even realize it. They don't realize that they're lacking something. They have no idea. They sum it up to, well, maybe we're just not right for each other. They can't give me what I need. But they don't really even understand themselves, because they can't put it into words what it is that they're lacking. They just know something's lacking. So if you want to save your relationship, you have to fix that. You have to ask yourself, what does my partner emotionally need from me? What have I been doing naturally that I do that shows love that might not actually be resonating with them? Because once you shift that, everything else starts to flow naturally. Because when people aren't being loved in the way that they need to feel emotionally fulfilled, they start lashing out. They start reacting to that emotional unfulfillment. So you do something, she does something, it's not matching one another. You're both reacting. You start to get into these unhealthy patterns and loops and cycles. Somebody shuts down, someone gets angry, someone doesn't feel safe. The thing is if you're both emotionally fulfilled because you've gotten to the root cause of the problem, emotional safety automatically comes back, because they feel safe because they're loved, and they're not having you react in certain ways because you're also feeling loved. So that's how the connection starts to rebuild. And once you start offering love in a way that resonates with your partner, you automatically create emotional leadership, because now you're also not reacting to them reacting to what you are doing that's the mismatch, because you understand clearly, okay, this is what I do naturally, but this is what I have to do to fulfill her. And vice versa, because once she starts to understand this concept as well, she's going to be able to start altering her love jargon. Love jargon is what I call the way you show love. She's going to start altering her love jargon to automatically start to match your love lingo as well. And then you start to be able to rebuild into an effortless relationship, because you both understand that neither of you were loving each other wrong. You were just both loving each other in a way that was mismatched and couldn't be received from the other person. And if you're realizing right now that this is exactly what's happening in your own relationship, the things you're doing are not actually resonating with her and you don't understand why, feel more than welcome to book a free 30-minute consultation with me, and we'll talk about if my Love Communication Reset program could be a right fit for you. And if you're not ready to book a call, feel more than welcome to take my free masterclass, the 5-step system to resetting your love communication style to rebuild your relationship, because that masterclass is going to give you the steps to take in order to start rebuilding your relationship. And really, guys, you can rebuild into an effortless relationship. You just have to start learning how to recognize those patterns, how to recognize what you're doing versus what it is that she needs from you. And you don't change yourself. You change the way she experiences you in the relationship by beginning to offer her love in a way that actually resonates with her. I hope this video was helpful, guys. If so, definitely hit a like for me and subscribe to the channel for more videos on helping you rebuild your relationship. And as always, everyone, stay happy, stay healthy, and let's really focus on falling back in love.